Billy has been training horses his whole life. Normally he sells them for a steep profit. However, the horse he had been training for the past couple of months showed so much potential that Billy entered competition with him. Disaster struck when the jury saw the horse. When a member of the jury saw the horse entering the terrain, he immediately went up to Billy. He told him that his horse had to get a blood test before being able to enter the race. Billy knew that this wasn't a usual occurrence, but he couldn't refuse it. Billy reluctantly went to the vet 10 minutes after taking the blood sample. The vet came back with the head of the jury. His horse wasn't with them. Before he can even question where he was, the vet informed him that he had just called the police and that they were on their way. Before we start, can we get this video to 1,000 likes? Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Billy was heartbroken and in disbelief. The head of the jury told Billy that this horse should have never entered a competition. He asked Billy what he had done to the poor animal. Billy was in total shock. He had only trained the animal, or was it his new trainer that had done something illegal? When the police finally arrived, they immediately started asking Billy questions. Billy was shell-shocked. What did he do wrong? They informed Billy that his horse was in surgery at the moment and that they hoped he would get out alive. They demanded answers. Billy answered questions about himself and the horse that he had owned for about a year now. When he was done with answering all the questions, he heard disbelief from the surgery room. "I can't believe this," said the vet. Before Billy can even figure out what is going on, he gets escorted from the terrain by the police. Het gets threatened like a criminal, and he did not even know what is even happening. When he gets thrown in the police car, he asks one of the officers if his horse is all right. Billy is extremely worried. The officers tells him to be quiet. The poor animal is in surgery and has a chance to not make it out. Billy begins to sob. When Billy gets put into the interrogation room, everything seemed extra serious. After the time had passed, the officers came back. They assured Billy that his horse was still barely hanging on and that he needs to answer all of their questions to make sure the horse survives. Billy started telling the whole story. His old horse and best friend had just died. His wife Erica saw how much it affected Billy. Billy felt like the whole world was against him at that very moment. Then one day his attitude changed. That is when all the trouble began. Desperate man do desperate things, and so did Billy. After the death of his old horse, he immediately wanted a new one. The officers urged him to hurry up with the story. If Billy wasn't the one that caused the horse so much pain and suffering, they had to know who was responsible for this horse. Billy could only think of two people who could cause this. Billy's first instinct was the animal shelter they got the horse from. The owners were a little shady. The horse was already pretty strong, but not as muscular as he was at the moment. The police captain got a little irritated. He demanded more information. Billy told them that he came across the horse breeders online. There were two breeders present. The first breeder gave off the wrong vibe from the start. Although the horses were strong and Billy wanted to win races, he did not trust the guy. However, the second seemed genuine. This second breeder, Mark, had two Shires ready to be sold. The Shire looked stronger than most of the horses. Billy knew immediately. With the right training, he could win every single race. To determine the sale of the horse, they needed to get the paperwork for the horse. However, Billy explained that Mark would email the paperwork later. This was already months ago. Billy had already forgotten about it. He had not even provided any identification. Billy pointed out that he had gotten the horse from a person named Mark Ramos. When searching the police database, they got a hit. This Mark Ramos was a licensed breeder. He was called in for questioning. Eventually, everything was cleared up with the breeder when he came in with the right papers for the horse. He provided everything that he needed to clear himself most of all. So they turned to Billy again. These samples made sure that Mark would be let go. Now they turned once again to Billy. He had some explaining to do. Billy was sick to his stomach, but he now had an idea who had probably gotten him into this trouble: his horse trainer. Immediately after Billy got the horse, Billy started to look for a new trainer to train his new prized possession. This David told Billy that he would be able to get the horse ready for competition in no time. Billy started to wonder if this was the right decision, but went along anyway. What was even more shady is that every time the trainer came to the Billy's range, Billy could not watch him train with the horse. However, Billy saw that the horse got stronger with every week. The horse grew very muscular, and Billy knew he could win every race he wanted. His ambition blinded him. The officers thought Billy was going crazy. He must have made this man up. The police captain overheard the whole conversation and decided to let Billy describe this David for a drawing so that they could help him calm down. Billy agreed. Billy told in detail what David looked like. They made sure the drawing was scanned and so that they could match it with possible known people in the police database. This process would only take a second. Billy was on the edge of his seat. Then out of nowhere, they got a potential hit. The identity check was ready. The police captain was lost for words. He did not tell anyone what was going on. He told the officers to follow him and place Billy in a holding cell. What was with the strange behavior of the police captain? He turned pale when he saw the results, but he did not tell Billy anything. Did they find David? Billy was allowed to call someone, so had decided to call his wife Erica. What he heard next was crazy. His horse was all over the news. Billy knew he was in big trouble if the real person wasn't caught for whatever he was accused of. After about 5 hours, he heard a lot of noise. It was the police captain. He came to pick him up out of the holding cell. He told him he was being taken to another room. Billy was not sure what was going on. The captain looked serious. Billy was surprised when he was brought to another room. When he looked up, he was lost for words. There was a lineup of 5 men right behind the glass window. The captain told him to point to the man he had trained his horse. Number 4, he said, the police captain. The captain told him not to smile yet. The captain asked simple questions. Billy had to confirm this was actually the guy that had been training the horse. The man was not known as David, and he kept denying he had anything to do with the horse. Then they decided to take his fingerprint. They did a full background check on this man, and another name popped up, Michael. This man has already been in jail for medical crimes and changed his name several times. The police was actually searching for this man. But what had he done to Billy's horse? The police got a warrant to search this criminal's house. When entering, they found a whole lot of illegal substances that could be used on different animals. Billy wanted answers. One officer explained the situation shortly after. This man was not an expert when it came to horses, but he also had a history of criminal medical activities. The police were already looking for him and notified vets because he tended to test new medical treatments on different kinds of animals. But what exactly did he do to Billy's horse? With all of this, Billy was very quickly clear of the charges, but they still could not figure out what was wrong with his horse. Billy begged the officers to let him go back to his horse. He wanted to be with him. They agreed and ensured Billy they would pressure Michael. Billy got a police escort back to the veterinarian's office, where his horse was in surgery. When entering the office, the receptionist immediately ran over to Billy. She ensured his horse was still alive. The vet had ensured her that they would do anything in their power to make sure his horse gets through it. Then Billy heard a loud noise from the surgery room. At that moment, they heard a loud noise from the surgery room. We died. The police and Billy quickly went over to the surgery room to determine what was going on. Then they saw the vet with something in his hand. What in the world was this? The vet noticed 2 strange things on the ultrasound, and one of them was a medical chip in his horse's belly. Not only did they remove the chip, but they also stumbled on an illegal substance they had found in the blood sample. This was the second thing the vet noticed, the combination of the chip, which gave electrical surges to the horse during the competition, and the illegal substance in the blood that gave the horse his muscles, were a powerful combination to make this the ultimate horse, which is illegal. This was the reason they were searching for Michael. He was doing this to horses to breed the ultimate racehorses. The chip was in place to keep track of the horse, to eventually steal a horse from the owners to make load of money. Thanks to Billy, they managed to extract the chip without damaging it. This way they managed to locate the criminal organization behind Michael. They did this by using the exact same device he would use to track down the horses. He got a taste of his own medicine. Billy eventually did not enter a single competition anymore. He just kept his horse. They had a great life together with his family. Eventually, they also got the horse to breed new horses. Billy would be focusing only on the trading side of horses. He swore never to compete again.